What do you feel would be a solution to non-violence in the 2015 election?
Well, the basic thing is that the 2015 elections, have come under, different kinds of, interpretations by people who think they understand the Nigerian environment more than Nigerians who live in Nigeria. I believe that some of the tension that we have witnessed in the context of the 2015 elections border around the fact that Nigeria has been under some form of insecurity triggered by the activities of Boko Haram, particularly in the northeast. And to that extent, people tend to extrapolate, as if the whole country is, in flame. Well, again, the activities of politicians who tend to talk without, measuring the value of the words, that they use in terms of building society rather than, putting society apart. Those are some of the things people have been using to say, look, the elections may be marred by violence. But I believe that in the first aspect I mentioned, the Boko Haram aspect, the military is doing its best, to keep those guys away from interfering with the normal lives of people. Yes, there are still challenges in the state of emergency states in the northeast, but the military is up to the task, and they are doing their best, to make sure that people live their normal lives. Now, that's military support, goes to say a lot about whether elections can, take place without any interruption in parts of the northeast. And the military high command and the INEC are in touch with one another to say that, look, INEC has granted IDPs in the northeast, state of emergency states who are still within their states of origin, the right, to vote during the elections. And they have already started issuing them with permanent voters cards in those states. Yeah, and which means that those camps where they are will be properly protected by the security, so that the elections will not be interrupted. Now, talking about the other aspect, the language, the acidic language that some politicians have used, up to this time. Nigerians have been, drawing attention to that. At the Institute for Peace here, we have been campaigning against foul language in the political, campaign situation. And we have some, media outreaches that we are using, to get the message of non-violence, to the people. We have a Peace and Security Forum, which holds in the institute here, made up of people from different security agencies and civil society organizations. I chair that forum, and it's being funded by the NSRP. And at that forum, we make sure we spread the message, that every agency must take this back, to ensure that the message, gets across. The other thing is that the civil society, legislative advocacy, the one that is called CISLAC, is the secretariat for this Peace and Security Forum. And when some people made very inciting statements in the political environment, they had to make a press release, which everybody accepted that was in order to caution them. And this is what we should be doing. We should be, checking, excesses of individuals, so that they do not, change the orientation of our people, in the wrong direction. So I think these kind of activities are happening. NOA, National Electoral, is doing its own, different agencies, are doing similar things. So I believe that cumulatively, we will be able to put in the public domain the kind of positive information, that, they need to have about the elections of 2015, so that the perceptions, that tend to hit the environment and make people feel that they are not safe where they are, will dissipate those, perceptions.
Now, you also mentioned about the Northeast. Yeah. Now, is there any solution for conflict resolution? within that country?
No, absolutely. You know that for conflict resolution, you must first of all deal with active violence. It is only when there is ceasefire that you can begin to build peace in communities. But in a situation where parties have not acceded to ceasefire, you cannot begin to build peace. So what we look forward to in the Northeast is that at some point, those who are stoking that, stoking violence in that part will see reason, to ceasefire. Once the ceasefire, we can begin to build back the society, begin to give them capacity, to overcome, the difficulties that they have been through these past years. And of course, part of the national structure that we are putting in place, the national peace infrastructure for Nigeria, covers all those areas. We will begin to deploy mediation teams, that will build their capacity from within those communities. So people who have those skills to help people confront conflict rather than using self-help or doing some other thing that is inimical to society. So we are really, we have in place, such plans. But you can't go into the Northeast when there is active violence. You understand? So it takes time for a conflict such as that, which has been woven with transnational elements of terrorist activities. It takes some time before we can reclaim that place and begin to do normal peace building work.
Yeah, that's good. Now, so you said that for there to be a peace process, because you say it's after the active violence has subsided, then you now start implementing things. Yeah. And you also mentioned about we have this peace infrastructure for Nigeria. In your peace infrastructure, the framework you have, is there anything that addresses insecurity in the present day Nigeria and is strategy to solve it?
Absolutely. When you have you have an infrastructure for peace, it addresses all those things. Because what you do is that you plan in such a way that you have an early warning as part of that infrastructure for peace. So what we have in place is that you have the security will be part of that infrastructure for peace, the normal development actors, because part of what even triggers conflict, violent conflict, so to say, is poor governance management, poor management of development processes, for instance. Now we have a tool, part of that infrastructure for peace, which is described as mainstreaming peace building in development programming. So it is with such a toolkit that every development intervention, has inbuilt in it a mechanism for making society stay together rather than making society, tear apart. So you have where the security comes in, because it also has to do with the general social infrastructure that are in place. If you don't have enough to accommodate the population, or to plan, for future development, of course you have areas of offset here and there, and then you can have challenges. So we believe that with a comprehensive infrastructure for peace, we will be able to take care of every constituency in the Nigerian polity, so that in going forward, we will not have a situation where some people feel excluded to the point of rising against the authority. So that's the kind of thing we are looking forward to. But, we must come to a point where we are able to sell this to every institution of government, so that in planning an activity, that you have to take certain things into consideration, inclusivity, the diversity, which is important as a tonic and energy for development. We need to accommodate all those things rather than, excluding people for different reasons.
So all these elements, all these factors need to be put in place when we are talking about peace building. And in saving Nigeria, it is essential that we have these things in place. Process. Where do you see Nigeria in a few years' time, after we've been able to resolve many of these peace issues? How do you see Nigeria rising, and what is the hope that you like to communicate to people?
Honestly, I must tell you that I am one of the very optimistic people about this country. I tell you, because you are from the UK, I tell you, I studied in the UK, and I was there with my whole family.
Wow.
And when after my research, and I wanted to return with my family, many people were shocked that I wanted to return to Nigeria with my family. And I told them, yes, I have hope in Nigeria, but I have to come back. And I came back, and I'm here.
Wow.
This country has a lot of promise for all of us.
Great.
And I don't think that the way people see the pockets of conflict in the country, they are seeing it in the right way. Look, conflict is important as energy for development. What is not good, what we must work to avoid is violent conflict, not conflict. Conflict is inevitable. It must happen. But violent conflict is what we don't want because it is destructive. Ordinary conflict enables you to understand a phenomenon better. It enables you to understand your partner better. Without conflict, you won't understand a lot of things. Do you know that some of the most important developments in the world happen as a result of conflict? Conflict gives birth to development, positive development. But violent conflict is avoidable.
Wow. You both have spoken. We also want to communicate something to the young people out there. Because they have energy, they have passion, they have the drive, and they can be used by some wrong, mean parties to foster negative conflict. Can you give a word to them and also a word of caution to those who try and use our future?
I think that is a very, very good point because every day when I wake up, I look at the young people of this country and I tell myself that just as I will not use my child, to achieve, a negative, ambition, so to say, I will not use another person's child. And any young person that allows a politician to manipulate him or her, just for, pecuniary reasons, such a young person is simply condemning him or herself because the person is somehow like selling his or her future for whatever that person will have given him or her. I think young people have to ask those, where are your children? Now that you're sending me to do this, they should ask that question. And if they can't, the people can't bring their children to accompany them to go and do that, they should think twice. I think that is all I can say. Because any young person who allows himself or herself to be used for that purpose simply has, committed suicide. And I think it is important that young people should see beyond today. Because if you destroy yourself today, you may not have a tomorrow that could make you the president of this country or some such other big person. I grew from a village environment, and I know that if I participated in those things, I will not be here today. So I say to every young person there, Nigerians say shine your eye. Please be peaceful. Don't engage in destructive activities because tomorrow is better than today.